freedom, freedom over fame, freedom over cycle stays the same.
Welcome. First of all, welcome. This is Unsolicited Perspectives, and I'm your host, Bruce Anthony. Thank you for listening and watching wherever you get your podcasts and video podcasts. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and rate us. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch at unsolicited_perspectives. You can find us on Twitter and TikTok at unsolicited_PER. Watch us live. Now, watch us live every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and YouTube. Our audience continues to grow with each and every episode, and I humbly thank you.
On today's episode, it's the Sibling Happy Hour. I'm here with my sis, Aundrea. We're going to be shooting the breeze, talking about Marjorie Taylor Green and what are they doing to the kids in Georgia? But first things first. What up, sis?
What up, brother?
For the people that don't know, my sister was in town this week. She just got back to Atlanta this morning, and she was like, I'm sleepy and tired. I'm not going to be as funny as I am normally. And I was like, oh,
I'm just not. I'm just not. My flight was boarded at 5:20 this morning.
That's
so
ridiculous.
I've been up since 3 a.m. I had to come back. I had doctor's appointments. I had to work. Early flights, late nights. That's my life. It's that jet set lifestyle.
I personally believe that's piss poor ass planning.
No, I wanted to spend as much time home as I could. So I decided to take that early flight and then I was just ripping and running.
You could have took a Wednesday night flight. You could have took the last Wednesday night flight.
No, I wanted to be home as much as possible.
But you was going to sleep anyway, right? So you weren't like, what time?
Yeah,
how long did you stay up late last night?
I went to bed at probably about 10.
You could have caught that flight. You could have caught that 10 o'clock flight and been home by midnight.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I made the decision I made. Why are you gonna Monday night quarterback?
It's called Monday morning quarterback, not Monday night quarterback. See, this is a rare opportunity.
It's called Monday night quarterback, but this is before Monday night football. There was a time when there was no Monday night football, and you could say Monday night quarterback, and it would still be correct.
No, technically, yeah, it's all correct, but the expression is Monday morning quarterback.
It doesn't sound as good as Monday night quarterback.
We just changing expressions up in this mug. I guess that's just what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. When you're sleep deprived, you get a little leeway.
Well, you wouldn't be sleep deprived if you had taken the last flight on Wednesday night. But in hindsight is 2020. That's another expression.
Exactly. Yeah. You backseat driving here. It's done.
It's passenger seat driving.
It's not backseat driving.
Not. Maybe it's both.
We'll let I've heard it both ways.
Yeah. I've heard people say. Some people have said.
Some people have said.
It was good seeing you, though. It was the first time in about 18 months we got to kick it. We got to kick it for a few hours.
Yes, yeah.
We got to kick it for a little bit, and we had some laughs and some jokes. I swear,
nice.
if we had been recording that could have been a great after hours episode. Because
it really could have, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the 100 show doing, obviously not a live show, but doing a show and us recording in the same place. Yeah. Us being in the same place at the same time.
Well, we can record it at Dad's house because he got a studio.
He does.
He's got a studio, so we could record it at Dad's house.
I will be back for Father's Day.
I don't know when the 100th episode is. Like it's 50 episodes after the 50th episode, obviously. But
just do the math, Bruce.
So it's like it's 25 weeks. So that's what, 6 months?
Oh, okay. So like
5,
around
6 months?
October.
Yeah, well, the 50th episode will be in a couple of weeks.
This is the 5th month. Add 6. We're looking at about October, November.
But I think the 50th is actually going to be June, like the first week in June, if I know this
Okay.
correctly. Because I think this is the
So we'll get together for
40.
Christmas.
Yeah,
We'll film it. It'll be
what we're
around
gonna
that
do,
time
we're
then.
gonna do a holidays hiatus anyway. We're gonna take a
Right.
break. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to let you know there is
Yeah.
gonna be a time where we're gonna take a break. There's
And
plenty of content out there for you.
And it's gonna be Juneteenth. We're not doing nothing on Juneteenth.
Well, what day does Juneteenth fall on?
Not a recording day.
Okay, though I really don't.
I don't think Juneteenth is a Monday. Yeah, because I'll be home again for Father's Day, the 16th through the 19th, and I'm taking another early morning flight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing it again. Well, this time the flight was just cheaper.
Well, it is cheaper to keep her. It's cheaper to keep her.
It is. That's what they say.
That's what the word on the street is. But it was a good visit, though. Did you get to see everybody that you wanted to see?
Yeah, I did. I got to see everybody that I wanted to see. I saw both of our parents, which I was like, that's a requirement.
Yeah.
I got to see you. So that's nice. I got to see my best friend and my niece and my godson. So that was also nice.
You got to be careful, though, because you said your best friend. And I know a lot of your friends
are very clear and they know I have a best friend. This is, I make note. Everybody, I always refer to her as my best friend. I always refer to her as that. So it's very clear. Everybody know, every person in my life who is a friend of mine knows I have a best friend. And I also consider best friend the title to be a person, not a tier. Yeah. It's not a place a bunch of people can reach. It's just not. You have one that's the best. This is the best.
Okay. I mean, I disagree. I have tiers in my friendships. I'm not going to divulge who's in what tier because a lot of my friends, listen and watch the podcast. So I'm not going to tell you what tier you're in. But like, if you've ever invited me to something and I've shown up, you mean something to me.
Yeah.
If you've invited me to stuff, I ain't never shown up. It kind of speak for itself.
I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I could just be a flake, or I don't really like you that much.
Well, I don't really. Do I associate with people that I don't really like? There are some people that annoy me, but I see my Superman complex. I see the good in them.
I'm not around anybody I don't like.
So don't like is different than being annoyed.
I'm not around anybody who I find annoying. I'm not around anybody.
Not true. You are annoyed. You are around both me and your other brother.
That is by act of God. Not by choice. Not by choice. That was an act of God. I'm talking about people that I choose to have in my life. They're 100%. I'm 10 toes down for all of them. And the reason that nobody questions when I call my best friend is because she earned that title. Like it's not just the longevity of our friendship, but just like all the stuff that we've been through, all the ways that she's been there for me. I've been there for her. Like we earned that title. And so, there's some haters out there that don't like that she refers to me as her best friend.
Oh, wait a minute.
Can
I get messy? Can I get messy?
You can get messy if you want to.
All right. So, you don't have to name names, but give me some examples of people not liking the fact that she says best friend when referring to you.
Oh, there's been a couple of things throughout the years. It doesn't bother me because it's whatever. It really doesn't bother me, but I do the stories still get back to me of people like, oh, so we just calling anybody best friend, huh? You know, like, and I'm just like, all right, you know, it doesn't bother me. It bothers her, but it doesn't bother me. But but as far as my friends, I'm very clear. No, this person and I have been in the trenches together. That's why we're best friends.
So people say that me and you are so similar, and I always say we are, but my sister is way more bolder than I am. I was like, she gets that characteristic from our father. And it's just like when you don't mess with somebody, you don't really like dilly dally or beat around the bush. You're like, nah,
No.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna hang
Yeah.
with you, and I kind of don't like you. Like you'll tell
Yeah.
people that, and I'll
Yeah.
be like, I'll make excuses, and the people.
No.
There's a neighbor. There's a neighbor. He don't watch the show, so I'm good. There's a neighbor. He's a little bit older than me, but he
Mhm.
carries himself young, and he looks
Okay.
young.
Okay.
Um, and he'd be saying to me all the time, "Hey, Bruce, we need to get together and hang out." And I'm like, "For what? Like, why? I don't really want to. I don't really think we have any commonality besides we both like basketball. And I know men bond over sports. I'm
Yeah.
past that point in my life of bonding over sports. Sports is taking kind of like a back seat to my life. I feel like there are other things more important than sports. Don't get me wrong. I still watch sports, but not nearly like I used to. So it's like,
Mhm.
what am I going to do? Like, hang out with you. We're going to talk about women. Me and you not looking at the same women, right? Like,
Yeah.
so. And fact of the matter is, if we are, I feel like he's 10 years older than me. If we are looking at the same women,
Kind
it's
of
a little
gross.
creepy because
Yeah.
I say my age range is 29 is a stretch. Like you got to be a mature 29, but like 30 to 40, that's my
Yeah.
age range.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go up to 45 if you're young, if you're a young 45, but 30 to 40 is my
No
age
such
range.
thing. There's no such thing.
Oh, well, I'm a young 42.
Yeah, but then you try to get up off the couch and you're making a lot of noise.
That's just because my knees from my years of playing
That
sports and basketball.
that's how it usually is. But that's how it usually is.
Wait a minute, did I make a noise when you was over here?
Yes, you make noise. We all do. Once you cross over, I want to say like 37. Once you cross over, you get up going, like it's like you make a noise when you get up. And you make a noise when you sit down, it's kind of the reverse. It's, it's like a reverse
Look.
of the,
The other day I was in the gym,
uh-huh.
and I'm not one of those grunters in the gym, but the other day I actually wasn't grunt. I yelped. No,
Mm,
I yelped,
mm-mm,
not yelled, yelped
mm-mm.
out. And like I was doing a
No.
squat and my knee just was like kind of gave out. And I was just
Mm.
like,
That's bad. That's
I
bad.
said, oh, because I had to because I was doing squats, so my knee gave out, and then I had to push up on the squat, and I was like, oh, and I was just like, I was looking around, I was like, I hope didn't anybody hear that, but yes,
Yeah,
everybody heard
everybody
that.
heard it. Every
Everybody,
person around you definitely heard that.
somebody gave this young cat gave me that kind of eye. It was just like, hey, bro, you think that you might want to take some weights off of that? That's not what he said, but that's what his eyes said. Hey, bro,
Yeah.
you might want to lower some of that weight. No, I could do this. It just hurt at that particular time.
Did you listen?
No,
No. Okay.
no.
Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't.
I'm a professional. I know when I can and cannot do something. Like my
Yeah.
knee buckled because my knees
Yeah.
buckle, but it's not like I still able to do the weight. So my knees
Yeah.
just need to warm up. That's all. They need some
But but
WD-40.
but to go back to your point, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm bold. I would just say that I'm honest. You
Direct.
know. Yeah. I don't like you and I think you know that. Like that's straightforward. I get a lot of so my nickname is it's two things. My nickname is Really Jonna because a lot of people just be like, Really Jonna? Or a lot of people say I ain't shit. That's my one S word for today. But the truth is, I don't have a lot of drama in my life because I cut to the chase. If you don't want to go to the party, a friend calls me, oh, it's a party, I don't really want to go. What should I tell them? That you don't want to go or you ain't going to be able to make it. No, you don't. Should I tell them I'm sick or should I tell them no, just tell them you don't want to go or tell them you ain't going to be able to make it. Like, it's not that hard. Like, it's you call them up, you be like, I ain't going to be able to make it. Why? And I just say, hey, I don't want to come.
Hey, they say the party start about 4:00. Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to make it.
I ain't gonna be able to make it.
If y'all don't get that reference, L.A.
Please watch
Chadwood.
Yes.
That's a golden child.
Please watch The Golden Child. Please watch The Golden Child.
So yeah, okay. I mean,
why beat around the bush? You just wasting your own time. Your time is so precious.
It is.
Value it more.
I would say people that know me, people that personally know me, they now know that when they invite me to things, they say, hey, we got something going on this date. I know, like, sometimes you want to do things, sometimes you don't. You can, you're more than welcome to come if you want to. Like, literally, I have so many of my friends kind of just like, hey, I know, like, it's the weekend and this thing is on a Sunday. I know that's Bruce's Sunday fun day.
Yeah.
But maybe, we're having this thing. And if it's important, I will show up.
Yes.
If I had the mental and emotional capacity to do it. Because
That's
Sunday is my recharge.
Because it takes a lot to be me. And so, like, honestly, it takes a lot of energy to show up as Aundrea. Like, it takes a lot of energy. And so I have to have the bandwidth for it. Because if I can't show up as my full self, I don't want to do it. So if I already know I'm just not feeling it, or I'm not feeling a certain way, or I don't have the bandwidth for it, then I'm just not gonna go. Because if I can't be 100% me, forget it. Now I'll come up to this podcast. I'll do this podcast at 73%. I'll do this podcast at 62%.
All right, I gotta ask a personal question. Is that only because you made a commitment?
Yes. You asked me to be a weekly guest and I said yes. So that means I have to show up, whether I'm 100% or whether I'm 53%. I still have to show up because I made a commitment.
Yeah, because you got legitimate fans out there that throw a fit if you're not going to be on the show. We'll get to it later when we talk about our family getting together earlier this past weekend.
And there was a thing in that, and we'll talk about it later, but I'm proud of you. And you just ask me why I'm proud of you, because I'll forget to tell you.
Yeah, I got to remember, because that's probably about 30 minutes.
Neither one of
away.
us are going to remember.
Yeah, it's probably about 30 minutes away. Probably not going to remember. Hopefully I do. But if I heard one more family member say, I just love the show when y'all are on together, and y'all don't understand how close me and my sister are. Well, how close all three of us are. We defend each other to the bitter end. Now, one of us might not be speaking to the other.
Right.
There are some times where there's some beef between the siblings. Surprisingly, me and my sister,
siblings.
The only time we ever had beef was that time we told the story about when I left her in the car and was drunk. But we're siblings, so we'll fight. But nobody else better say anything or come at us in any way. It's going to be a 100% problem. So all the family members were talking about, I love the show. Y'all are so funny together. And you would point out, you're like, there's another whole episode each week where Bruce does interviews with interesting people. Yeah. And they were like, one family member, we were like, when was the last interview you watched? The Jewish interview. I was like, that was like in January. Are you kidding me? I've done so many more interviews since then.
That was so long ago.
Shout out to Catherine Zorb. Just posted that interview with her earlier this week. Very fascinating life. Fantastic singer. You can find that on YouTube and see her YouTube page, because I've tagged her in the YouTube videos to see some of her work.
Yeah,
very talented.
I had a chance to listen to her sing, and beautiful voice.
Yeah, I mean,
beautiful operatic voice.
Yeah, it was really good. But you know what? We're gonna forget. So just to say it now, what were you proud of?
You sticking to your guns about not having certain people back, like not inviting people back. Like
They're
I
gonna be
was
pissed.
really
They're
proud.
gonna be pissed.
I mean, hey,
We talking about you.
you get opportunities in life. You get a shot. You either take the shot or you fumble the ball, and that's
We'll
two
talk.
different sports. That was
Right.
baseball. That was basketball
And
and
football.
football.
Yeah.
Sometimes you fumble, and sometimes you knock it out the park, and
That's
that's
baseball. You just add in all types of metaphors. I don't know what you talk
um,
about.
but I really thought that you were. I don't know, because you have a tendency to people please.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I was worried that you wouldn't stick to your guns, and you absolutely stuck to your guns
Well,
and were
that's
like, no,
well, that's because you've never really seen me in my business mode.
that's true.
You've never
That's
seen
true.
me in my business mode, and I am not a people pleaser when it comes to business. Business
That's
is
true.
I'm a different person when it comes to business. And you made a commitment.
Mm-hmm.
I did the work to prepare for the interview. And yes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about you. And no, you're not going to come on the show. Love you. I love you. And thank you for
to
supporting the show. But you're not
to
going to be a guest on now.
love
Like it's
you.
not going to ever happen. Like you might be a guest for a pop in, but never for what it was going to be. Like, and it's
Yeah.
messed up because I thought that would have been really interesting. So I'm just going to find somebody else from that area to interview.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what it is. But no,
Yeah.
you got one time, I guess has one time to back out on me the last minute with no reasonable explanation for it. And I'll
Yeah.
just be like, oh, okay, fine, cool. Like
Yeah.
I'm not chasing no guests
Right.
unless I think what they're doing is really important. I've rescheduled interviews.
Yeah.
I've done that, and done interviews, and it just not come out right. And I've asked them to come back on, and I was like, okay, we're not going to post that. We'll redo the interview whenever you have time, and maybe that interview, the redo interview, won't be for a couple of months. That happens.
Yeah.
Technology, these things, kind of happen when they have time that we could do it. But if you just
Yeah.
bail on me, like I had it, one of the first interview guests I was really excited to be
Mm-hmm.
interviewing her. And the first time we set up the remote interview, there was a storm. She was on the West Coast and there was a storm. So it kind of was knocking out the internet. And we are like, we have to
Oh,
reschedule. When can we reschedule?
yeah.
So we set up a reschedule
Mhm.
and it just didn't show up. They
Mm.
just didn't pop up. And it was
Yeah.
emailing back and forth. And it was like, okay, this is time. We're confirming the time, right? I'm here. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, this person's not going to be on my show. And I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
That's fine.
It is what it is. So yes,
But
thank you
yeah,
for being proud of me. But I
I'm
can tell
proud
you
of you. You
that's
didn't cave. You didn't lean into that. But it was nice seeing Business Bruce. I was like, oh, all right, because I feel like I'm always Business Jonna.
yeah, well, there's a time to turn it
I'm
on.
always
And
kind of a hard ass.
I found that you got a granddad, our dad's dad, t- said one time, and I'm gonna change the expression a little bit, that he said you can get more flies with sugar than you can with, I'm gonna use my S word. You can get more flies with sugar than you can with shit. Now it's really supposed to be you can get more bees with honey than you can with something else. But
Yeah.
the general principle was the same. So
Yeah.
I'm just genuinely nice to people until there's a reason not to be nice.
Yeah.
And I wasn't not being nice to that person that I'm not going to be on the show. I love that person, but like
Yeah.
this is business.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. So either respect it or you get neglected.
Expected or you get neglected. Check it.
Now, speaking of not backing down,
Mm-hmm.
something happened yesterday and
Yeah.
today.
Okay.
Um, so we talk about politics, and I really honestly, my whole purpose in life is to not attack Republicans or white people. That's not what my purpose is. I'm not trying to
Right.
attack Republicans or white people. I will critique everybody, no matter who they are. If you're
Hmm.
wrong, you're wrong. If you're right, you're right. If you're right, I'll give you praise. If you're wrong, you're wrong. So, Marjorie Taylor Green, she ain't doing much right out here.
No.
She ain't doing
And
much
it,
right out here.
and I understand. I understand you don't want the show to become we're attacking white people, but and I rarely say this about a woman, she's asking for it. And so, okay, because she's a ridiculous human being.
She is.
But go ahead.
All right. So Green she's been announcing a lot of impeachments. And articles of impeachment. She introduced a new article of impeachment against President Biden. She's already introduced similar articles of impeachment against the
Well, they're
Attorney
literally
General.
like one sentence because she
Yeah.
doesn't even know how to write it.
Yeah, she's done it against the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, the FBI Director, Christian Way, and the DHS Secretary, Alejandro Mayor Casas. I'm going to butcher this. I'm
Sure.
butchering this name. So during a press conference, it was brought up that she had a back and forth with another rep. His name is Jamaal Bowman on the steps of the Capitol. Now,
Hmm.
why did they have this interaction? It's because the Republicans just shot down a motion that was brought up by the Democrats in the House to
Yeah.
expel our favorite George Santos from the House, and they
Yes.
basically deflected and
Even the ones who called for his resignation
yes,
voted along party lines
voted along party lines. So
instead of their conscience.
okay, because
Well, they
that
might have
is what
voted
it
their
is.
conscience. Yeah.
Yeah, that is what it is. So after that motion was basically defeated, George Santos goes out and does a little press conference
Because
on
of
this
course.
on the steps of the Capitol, right?
Hmm.
So Jamaal Bowman yells out, "You need to resign." This don't have nothing to do with Marjorie Taylor Green. Nothing.
Nothing.
But she decides to confront Jamaal Bowman, and they go back and forth about what's right and what's wrong. And you guys can look at the clips on C-SPAN is where I found it. Um,
Hmm. But you can see the video.
you can
It's
see the video. It's the videos out there.
yes, yes.
I could play the video on here, but I don't know what the clearances are for the C-SPAN, and I'm not going to get sued, so I'm just not going to do it. Just find it. Just Google it. You
Right.
can Google
Just
it.
it's not that hard.
So she was asked during this press conference where she's introducing these articles of impeachment to President Biden about what happened. And she goes on to say that Jamaal Bowman called her a white supremacist. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't, she disagrees with that. I
She
really don't know
shouldn't.
why. I really don't know why she
Yeah.
does.
I
But
mean,
then
just
she
own it.
says,
Own it.
yeah, she already called herself a white Christian nationalist.
Yeah.
She said that. Those are her words. So she said that by calling her a white supremacist, that's like calling a black person the N-word.
Absolutely not. And the implication is maddening. I want you to make your point because you're on a
Well, go
roll,
ahead
but
and
I'm
jump in.
just
No, go ahead and jump in and say what you want to say. Get it all off your chest because you're only working at 73% right now.
no, I'm like 48.
Well, yeah, get it all out because I can
Yeah.
take it from there. Get it all out.
I'm at a smooth 48%. Um hmm. So to call a black person the N-word is not to call them out as far as you need to hold yourself accountable for your beliefs and the harmful things that you propagate. That is
Beliefs or
not what the
actions.
N word means.
Right.
The N word is not accountability.
Mm-mm.
Calling someone a white supremacist, that's calling them to task. That's calling them to be accountable for the harmful things that they say and they do.
And the
So it
policies that
isn't,
they implement.
and the policies that they support and that they implement, and for just being trash human being. That
Mm-hmm.
is, they are not in any way, shape, or form equivalent. One is to insult, degrade, dehumanize, and belittle someone. The other is apt in this situation. Is just who you are. To say with pride that you are a white Christian nationalist is to say that you are a white supremacist. There is no way in which those two things are in any way dissimilar or mutually exclusive. It's the same thing. So how dare you? That is the most, and she has said some offensive, she has said and done and supported some offensive things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not just as far as racially or her ideas on immigration or her stance, her anti-trans stance. She has said some appalling things. She has supported some appalling things. That was by far the stupidest and the most hurtful thing.
As
To
far as some of the things that she supported, let's run down the list. Jewish space lasers,
Yeah.
QAnon, the Parkland shooting was
The
a hoax.
crisis actors, yeah.
There were the crisis actors.
She
These
and has followed them down the street,
I'm gonna get to that.
harassing them.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get to that. With that's a good segue because it gets to when she answered the question from reporters. She didn't stop with, he called me a white supremacist, just like calling a black person an N-word. She then described the interaction between the two and said that he was being loud, that he was being boisterous, that he was cussing at her, that he was yelling at her, that she felt threatened,
Mm-hmm.
and that people need to watch out for him. They need to watch out because she felt threatened,
Yeah.
which is doing a couple of things. If you see the clip of their interaction, you realize that was all a lie.
Yeah. He wasn't screaming at the top of his lungs. He
He
wasn't cursing.
he wasn't cursing.
He didn't ever make a personal attack on her.
There was no physical movement towards her.
If
Right?
anything, her hand was in his face.
That's exactly what was happening. Her hand was in his face. So she's playing the victim from something that she started. Because remember, he wasn't talking to her. She
No.
interjected herself into the situation. But she has a history. It's so funny that she felt threatened and called being attacked and threat and saying that people should watch out for him, which is putting a target on a black man's back. That is
Absolutely.
very common to things that happen in American history. And he
Yeah.
had a statement, and I'm going to
Ask
read it
Emmett
afterwards.
Till.
He made a point of bringing up Emmett Till, but it's funny that she felt threatened when this is the same person that when before she was in office came to the Capitol and was literally screaming in AOC's office, telling her to
Mm-hmm.
come out and confront him, and then confronting Parkland survivors and saying that it was a hoax in the face. These were kids at the time. Kids.
Yes.
So it's just so funny. And by the way, if you see her at any of these committee meetings at all, where she is just out and out attacking these witnesses that have come before Congress for these hearings, but
Yes.
she has the nerve to play the victim. This is the example. It is a prime example of when we say white woman victimhood.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing that happened with the young lady that works for the hospital in New York City that was
Yes.
arguing with these guys about the electric bike. And she's calling for help, acting like they're taking a bike from her, when in essence, the dude had paid for the bike. It was his bike. He was like, it's on my account. And she's
Yes.
sitting there screaming and crying, calling for help when she's in the wrong. It's the same thing
Yeah.
that happened in the Central Park with the bird watching situation, with the
Mhm.
woman called the cops on the man that was out there watching birds, and she had her dog, and she's not supposed to have the dog in that area of the park. But she called the cops on her.
Off
Meanwhile, she's choking the
leash.
hell out of the dog. Yeah, meanwhile, she's choking the hell out of that dog. This is what we talk about when we talk about white women victimhood. So Marjorie Taylor
and
Green,
and
who
and the weaponization of their victimhood,
the weaponization.
and it is consciously done,
Mm-hmm.
because if you watch the video of the girl with the bike or the lady in the park with the dog, the lady in the park with the dog tells him, I'm going to call the police and tell them a black man is harassing me. So she
Mm-hmm.
knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Marjorie Taylor Green also knows what she's doing. You
Mm-hmm.
know that these things can mean life or death to black people, particularly black men. And you do it anyway. You weaponize the police, you weaponize your tears, you weaponize your femininity or your whiteness, and these are all hallmarks of what? A white supremacist. So if you want to talk, if you want, and now, first of all, in the video, I never heard him call her a white supremacist, but if you want to mark the date and time, Aundrea is calling her a white supremacist. I've called her
Mark
that
it.
several times already during the show, and I'll do it again. You could put it down in the paper. Go
So
ahead.
Jamaal Bowman had a response to what she
Mm-hmm.
said. And here's his response. This is why it is so important that we teach and know our history. There is a long tradition that Marjorie should be well aware of black men who are passionate, outspoken, or who stand their ground being characterized as threatening or intimidating. That's what happened with Emmett Till, with Mike Brown, and with so many more. Marjorie's attack is beyond a dog whistle. It's a bullhorn, and it is reckless and dangerous, and she has put a target on my back. The truth of the matter is that what we had a light back and forth on the steps of the Capitol, surrounded by reporters and staff. We can roll back the tapes and see her characterization of the conversation is an utter and blatant lie. This is historically what white supremacists do. They try to dehumanize black people, black skin, and black humanity so that we can be targeted for harm. Everything you just said is exactly what he just said, and
Yeah.
that is white supremacy 101.
Yeah. And shout out to AOC, who was just like, she ain't worth it, bruh.
Look, I love AOC. I know AOC is engaged.
Yeah.
I know she's going to get married. But if something does not work out,
Not wishing that.
not wishing
Not,
that. No, I
not,
want her to be happy. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? But if something
Because
were to
that's what
not
love
work out,
means. It
that's what
means you want the other person to be happy.
that's how love goes.
Yeah. That's the way love goes.
That's the way love goes. Right.
That's the way love goes.
I just want to say that if something were to happen and you were to become single,
You want to put your hat in the ring. That's not, hey.
I just want to toss my hat in the ring, just let you know, just meet me one time, just for a drink. It could be 5 minutes. Lemon rule, 5 minutes. In 5 minutes you're not
Yes.
interested in me, cool. We could be friends. I love having smart, intelligent women around me. I mean, I don't know why I did a redundancy with smart and intelligent, but I consider her both smart and extremely intelligent. She's so smart that she's super intelligent and
Hey,
gorgeous.
there's a difference between smart and intelligent.
Okay, English major, can you tell me what it is?
No.
All right, sis, before we get to talking about the family meetup on Saturday to celebrate Mother's Day,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, we're talking about another depressing story. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my sister did not like the topics for today. She
No.
was like, Bruce, this is really depressing. But I was like, it's
Yeah.
news. It's what's hot in the streets right now. So we got to talk
Yeah.
about it.
Sure.
So a couple in Georgia were just arrested. All right. The Georgia parents, this is from the Daily Mail. And it's the Georgia parents are charged with attempted murder after the headline for the Daily Mail. Look, if y'all see this article, it's not written well. But basically, their
Well, it's the
10-year-old
Daily
son,
Mail.
the 10-year-old son, well, it was also on something else in Atlanta, but you had to pay for that. And so we just going to cite the Daily Mail because I don't have to pay for that. So it was they're being charged. Georgia parents are being in charge for attempted murder because their 10-year-old son is 36 pounds. So they're being charged for attempted murder for starvation. Basically, here's the article is well written, just not the headline.
Yeah.
2 parents from Georgia have been charged with attempted murder and child abuse, not abuse, after starving. Right. Come on, we can't make jokes about this. Little 10-year-old boy, 36 pounds.
Right.
After their starving 10-year-old son was found wandering through their neighborhood looking for a grocery store where he could beg for food. Let's think about that.
Yeah.
The kid was wandering the neighborhood to try to find a grocery store where he could beg for food. This gets worse.
Okay.
Police in Griffin arrested Tyler Shanadley,
Sure.
46,
and
just
if
a couple
it's
of
not
years.
that, then I apologize to Tyler Shanadley.
Yeah, Tyler and Krista Shanadley, 46 and 47.
I think it's Shinley.
That's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is, Shinley.
Yeah. So
I like
Tyler Shanadley, I'm sorry.
I think it should be Shanadley, but whatever. Police in Griffin arrested Tyler and Kristen Shanadley. No.
Yes. They don't deserve to have their name pronounced correctly.
They don't. After neighbors in the upscale enclave found the emaciated boy roaming the streets on Friday. Now, so the boy was roaming the streets trying to find a grocery store in an upscale neighborhood. How upscale? Their house is worth almost $500,000. The median income in this area is $190,000. He is one of 5 children.
5 children, yeah.
One of 5 children. The assistant DA was just like, yeah, no, this kid was basically being starved to death. We were lucky to find him when we did.
And there's no indication that the other 4 remaining children were living under similar conditions. It seemed that it was only this little boy, the 10-year-old that they were doing this to.
The parents are accused of locking the child inside his bedroom and leaving him alone at the house for extended periods of time and on multiple occasions with no access to lights, food, clothing, or adult interaction and or assistance, according to the court documents. The couple also allegedly withheld hot water, toilet paper, and views of the outdoors. At one point, it is believed they beat the 10-year-old, causing further injuries. The abuse is believed to have occurred for the last 3 years, beginning in May 2020. According to the officials, the boy was one of 5 siblings living in a home, and he's not the oldest. He ain't the youngest. What else? There was something else that was really bad. The couple been charged with attempted homicide, cruelty.
And he was just 36 pounds, which is about the size of a 4-year-old.
36 pounds, but this is a wealthy people. Krista is thought to have been a franchise owner of the Peachtree City True Rest Float Spa, and both she and her husband Tyler managed the spa together. They got bread. Like I said, their home is estimated at $447,000. They live in an area where the median income is $190,000. I mean, here in Arlington, Virginia, the median income is around that too. But $447,000 don't get you a house like that. Like they have $447,000 around these parts get you a 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo.
Right.
And the bathroom is a shared bathroom in the hallway with all the other people living in the area.
Right. Yeah. We're talking about Georgia. So that can get you a nice size house.
So this is super depressing, but they're being charged. Attempted murder. They're going down for this one.
They're going,
It makes me sad because I just interviewed Dr. John a couple of weeks ago, who was an advocate for the foster care system. And he's telling me stories about not far from where this is taking place of these kids just being things that I didn't think were really happening. Stuff that I was like, oh, this only happens on TV. That happens in real life. You know, kids' teeth being knocked out or at 3 years old or just being burned from hot showers. Not because, they were trying to wash, like just turning the water on scalding hot and throwing kids in there to purposely burn them. And I just can't understand. I can't understand why people want to hurt kids. I feel like there are 3 bad people in the world. People that harm kids, people that torture animals,
Mm-hmm.
and all the people on YouTube that are trolls that attack, and not just YouTube, social media in general, and tell you go kill yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this because I'm personally triggered, because I've been getting a lot of that from these YouTube comments that I just delete and don't think about anymore. But those people can go to hell too. But those are the three people that are the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they would do something like this to
And what is the common denominator? It
uh,
is it
oh, here we
is
go.
power. It's
Yeah.
power, right? These are people who probably lack any semblance of power anywhere else in their lives, and so they exert their influence on somebody smaller and weaker than themselves, or defenseless like an animal, or like a child, or somebody on the internet who is getting on there and talking about their views or trying to be vulnerable, and you talk about unaliving them. These are people who are ineffectual in their actual lives. These are bullies.
Yeah.
They're ineffectual in their actual lives. And so they use violence or intimidation or whatever on people or animals that they perceive to be weaker than them.
So
It's it.
generally, I believe you. Like, yes,
Mhm.
I absolutely agree with you. But this case wasn't a case where these people don't have power. Like I said, they were franchise owners of a spot. So they were bosses. They could take it out on their employees if they really
Who
want to.
who knows if that spy was doing well? Who
Okay.
knows
Yeah,
if
you
they're
got
not behind on their bills?
it's
Or they're
funny
they
that they
living
said
in
it,
that house just keeping up with the Joneses. You
well,
don't
it's
know.
funny that they said that it started May 2020. And
Mhm.
so the world shut down, I think it was like March 17th, 2020. And we all
Mhm.
thought it was just going to be a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
when April rolled around and we got to the middle of April, we was like, this don't look like this is going to be a couple of weeks. So May, people really started to stress out. And if they owned a spa, didn't Georgia shut down to a certain extent?
Yes, it did. We did. We definitely
But I just don't
shut
understand
down.
why, if you got 5 kids, why you pick on this one in particular.
That's I've noticed that though,
Really?
where they have multiple kids and they just pick one scapegoat.
Hmm. Well, I was that in our family.
Mhm. Probably. Yeah.
I was saying the joke, but you
No.
actually really agreed.
Mhm. Probably.
I think that if I was, I had more to do with the oldest, being the oldest. But
Yeah.
so
But then
do you
there's
think that?
also two degenerates who just happen to find each other
Mhm.
and get married and have children, and they shouldn't have been allowed in society truly. We should have been able to ship them off to some sort of penal colony very early in life when you recognize that they would torturing the cat, or you
Right.
know like things like that. Like there's always signs that people are not quite right, but they just happen to find each other, have children, and then terrorize this little boy for the last 3 years.
So, damn it. I lost my train of thought. I might be working at 48%. I
Listen,
might be I might be working at 48%. I had a point too. Look, that point was going to be valid and official, and it just slipped my mind. What the hell was I going to say?
you were saying, so do you think, and then I cut you off, and that's on me.
No, that's not. I should have remembered my damn thought, and I sure enough didn't.
You
It
got to
was going to
jot
be
stuff
some.
down. You got to sometimes
Uh,
I'm jotting stuff down while we're talking
maybe I
so I
should
don't
have a little
forget.
piece of paper to jot something down, but
Yeah.
you can see my hand moving. I don't know. Maybe I
Yeah.
should raise
Well, I'm
the
usually
camera,
seeing you do this on the desktop,
but I didn't do it
or
this
do
time.
yeah, you've been keeping your hands in your pockets?
I've been rubbing the hell out of my legs. I've been, keeping my. You got me self conscious about rubbing. What the hell point was I gonna make? Oh well.
I
Hey,
will
ladies and gentlemen, it was gonna be good. I just don't remember what it was. Oh,
it
this
was
is what it was. I remember this.
okay.
Now I got it.
Okay.
So funny that we're creating laws to basically say that people got to have kids when they get pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
There really should be a test to make sure that you are an able-bodied person to be able to have a kid before you get pregnant. If a married couple is trying, you just like you got to go get a marriage license, you should have to go get a license to have a kid.
Yeah. I
If
don't
you
know
want to be
about
making all types
the
of, I mean,
language able-bodied. I don't know
okay,
about that
I don't.
language.
Well, you just said unlived, and I'm like, so we can't just say kill no more.
I
We
just
can't
don't
say
like to
murder.
I just don't like to say the S word.
What's the S word?
Where you suicide. I don't like to use that word
Well, who was
if
talking
I
about
can.
suicide though?
You were talking about the trolls that tell people to kill
Oh, okay.
themselves.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move on to the next topic because I can tell right now that this show is going downhill. Gets weird. Both losing our train of thought. And I ain't even had that much to drink. It's just I don't know. It's been a long week. And I gotta do another interview tomorrow, a couple of them. So yeah, running low on
But
steam here.
again, this is another instance of this country not protecting children. You know, child protective services are stretched so thin, and there's just so many loopholes in our
Hmm.
society in general where kids can fall right through. They're not even cracks, they're giant chasms where kids can fall through. Because these, to my knowledge, the children were all homeschooled. So
Yeah.
again, you're not having that third party as the teacher or school staff or administration or whatever seeing these, what they said, he had visible old and new wounds on him. Well, that would have
Hmm.
been caught by a teacher
Yep.
or school staff, you know. But we don't regulate homeschooling in that way.
We
um
do, but don't.
there's no in-home,
Yeah.
you know, where we're following up to make sure that the children are actually being taught something, or
Well, no,
I don't know.
they do have to, there is a curriculum that they have to
Yeah.
follow, but that's all that they really check on.
Yeah.
They're not checking on the well-being of the kids.
Right.
That's not part of their purview. So
Yeah.
um, they do have to be taught certain things
but
that has to fall in line with the curriculum.
but
But
we just don't allocate the resources for that kind of community engagement to make sure that we're checking on children that who otherwise wouldn't don't have as much access to the outside world, you
yeah,
know, because they're home. And that's not knocking homeschool. I've thought about homeschooling myself just because of how frightening it is sending your children to school,
yeah, well,
with
yeah.
all the mass shootings. So I'm like, people who want to homeschool, like, yo, I feel you on that. Plus, also, you don't know what these schools are trying to teach your kids. They're trying to take all kind of Black history right out them textbooks. So
Not
I
just Black
get it.
history, not just Black history. In Florida, they just barred two books that taught about the Holocaust.
Hmm.
So I was telling a Jewish friend of mine, I was like, all right, maybe you didn't really care about people not knowing about Black history, but I know you sure enough care about this. Some
Yeah.
people just don't care until it hits close to home, and I get
Yes.
it. I
Yeah.
mean, that's human nature. I understand that, but that's a different subject that we don't even need to talk about right now.
Yeah.
Let's move, in my words, let's move on. But let's move on to something funny.
Okay.
The ghetto ass lunch dinner thing that we had for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I love my family.
I don't
My
know
fam
that it's so much funny as it was embarrassing.
and now, well, it's funny because it was embarrassing.
Yes.
Uh, I love my family. My family
Yeah.
is loud. And this wasn't a restaurant where it was to be loud in. This wasn't a
No.
loud restaurant. This was
No.
I
And
mean,
we
don't
were
get me,
right in the middle of it.
I mean,
Like,
literally, we were right in the middle. Our table was in the middle of
yeah.
the entire restaurant.
And we were rolling deep. There was probably, it was like
13,
12, 13
13.
of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were rolling deep. We were in the middle of the restaurant. And
And
the decibel level reached I would say jet engine.
Yeah. And if I'd heard one more, hey, I was done for
If
the
I had
whole.
to give one more toast.
We had to get, it was 70-11 toast. And this one, and don't get me wrong, like I love being around my family. If we had had that same situation at a louder restaurant or somebody's house, it would have been a fun time.
Yeah.
But not at that
Honestly, I
restaurant.
still had fun.
I mean, I did have fun too, but I was a little embarrassed. I was a little embarrassed. I was just a little embarrassed at how loud we were, how
We were really
loud
loud.
they were. Let me rephrase that because I wasn't
Yeah.
being loud. I was sitting at the end of the table just hanging out with mom and my sister. And then when other family members would come up, it was, and let's be honest, it was only two people being loud.
No, it wasn't. It was everyone. It was everyone. It was everyone.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it was everybody. And there was just a lot of hustle and bustle. There was just a lot of shenanigans.
And I love my family. My family is fun. We are fun.
They're an extremely fun bunch. Like fun, funny, but incredibly loud. And you know,
so loud.
and it's funny because the other side of our family, I think, is so subdued that
Yep.
that the juxtaposition of the two is just, and then it's like us in the middle. It's like, yeah, sometimes we're subdued, sometimes we're loud. Time and place, I guess.
It's always time and place. I am
Yeah.
always, the environment dictates the energy of which I'm going to bring,
Mm-hmm.
or the volume of the energy that I bring.
But we
Right?
were just, I mean, let's be real. We were sitting around a lot of whites. A lot of older whites.
That's what
And
it was. That was a
and
lot.
I think that was what
I
felt
don't think it was a lot.
embarrassing about.
I don't think they were older. They just looked older
Oh,
because
I
some
just
of our
remember
family
the
members.
guy kept calling the vice president of the
All right, there was one. There was
Gulf
one gentleman
Society.
that came in with his family, and we said, "Oh, he the vice president of the homeowners association,
Golf Federation of, yeah. But then I think about that kind of you know, I don't know, I guess it's a fine line. I think about how should we have to change the way we engage with each other just because of the people around us? I don't think so.
I think there are times to be where there are there's appropriate way to act in certain situations, in certain environments,
But
and I
what's
don't think
dictating that? And I think that's the thing that we have to kind of dig deeper in.
consideration. For me, it's always consideration for other people.
Okay.
If the restaurant is a quiet and people are trying to have like a quiet, chill atmosphere, because I know I've been in restaurants where I'm trying to have a quiet, chill atmosphere, and there's a table being loud, I'm annoyed as hell because it's
Yeah.
like, yo, this is not the vibe that you're supposed to be carrying right now.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
being disrespectful to me and mine. But if it's a loud environment, right?
Yeah.
If it's a party type atmosphere, if I go, all right, it wasn't a TGI Fridays, but if I go into a TGI Fridays, it's
Yeah.
going to be loud.
Yes.
Like you kind of expect that, which is different than going into a Roof Chris. Roof Chris is not going to be loud,
Mhm.
right? So this was an environment where, you know, some restaurants, I'm trying to think of a fancy restaurant. Oh, well, not fancy. Out here in the DC area, there's a Mexican place called Rosa Mexicana. It's kind of a chain, but it's kind of an upscale Mexican restaurant. That's a place that you could be loud, but it's still upscale.
Yeah.
And so there are places that are upscale and loud. This was not one of those places that was upscale and loud. So for me, it's
Yeah.
always consideration. You know me. You call it people pleasing. I call it consideration for others. I
Yeah.
want people to treat me as if I would treat them. And I'm always like, hey, make sure that I'm considering the next person and not just
Yeah.
focusing totally on myself. I try to not be so self-involved or self-absorbed to not see
Yeah.
the environment around me. Oh, Lord, my battery is about to die.
Well,
Hold on.
that's fine because we're already at an hour, so the show is over. Bye.
Oh, no, hold on. Okay, talk about unprofessional. Talk about not handling your business the way you should. Here I am, forgot to plug in my computer. The battery is about to die as we're recording. But
Mhm.
you're right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this was a disjointed show. I still think it was
It
funny as
wasn't.
hell. Yeah,
No,
well,
it followed the plan. You had an
yeah, yeah,
outline,
yeah.
and we
We're
followed
petering
the
out.
outline.
We're petering out here towards the end. With a little bit
I don't
petering
think
out.
so. I don't think
I,
so. We rounding right up against an hour. That's all I got because now I think my battery is probably at 30%.
okay.
So
Okay. So on that note, what you want to tell the people out there?
when you're on a plane,
Oh Lord, here we go.
just don't cough. Hold it in because I'm gonna look at you funny. We
Still?
are in this cylinder. Yes. And I don't care. You could just have a tickle in your throat. Something went down the wrong. The little pretzel went down the wrong pipe or something like
Right.
that. I don't know. But hold it in, even if you pass out, because because I am the person that's gonna go. That that's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. Don't. I don't want to wear a mask while I'm on the plane.
But they're not
I typically would. They're not mandating it, but if I hear
okay.
a cough, it's gonna make me put my mask on. And now I'm uncomfortable for the whole flight because you decided
To cough.
to cough.
Involuntary. No control over it.
No, you just pass out. just pass out because now I gotta wear a mask because don't you cough on no plane. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's all I gotta say.
Well, on that note, I'll holla.
Thank you for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives with Bruce Anthony. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, and donate. Donations help us keep giving you this free content each and every week. Until next time, Audi 5000. Peace.